and we're here for tonight's Tuesday night podcast. I'm John Mussone here with Venice Indian head football coach John Peacock. And, Coach, we're kind of smiling.
I'm back.
Yeah, we're back because Coach is back. Glad to see you're feeling better, too. So that's usually it takes a lot for you not to show up and do what we do here. So you were not feeling very well last week, I'm sure.
Yeah, Riverview had my stomach upset a little bit, and so until we got over that hump, I was good to go.
And speaking of getting over that hump, 35-15 was the final score on Friday night. Venice Indians are your 4S Region 4 champions. And we mentioned a little early on the coach's show when we were taping that it really means something. It's nothing to be taken for granted that you winning districts and county championships and now a regional championship. It's a really big deal, and I think everybody should be super proud of what that they've accomplished at this point.
Yeah, we've had a pretty good run with regional championships, and it's something that is it's special. I mean, playing on Thanksgiving Day is always, or day after Thanksgiving is always a special time to be playing, a special time to be practicing. I think it's a great bond builder with your team. So we're very humbled and thankful. I think if you'd have asked me back in 2015, hey, I just want to, said, hey, Coach, I'm letting you know you're going to be playing in the fourth round of the playoffs the next 7 years in a row. I don't think I would have believed you.
Right.
But so we're very humbled and grateful to get the kids and get the buy-in and get to this stage. Really, we're to this stage, and used to always be. Well, what was it? 6 years in a row we had St. Thomas. 5 years in a row. 5 years in a row we had St. Thomas. So it's good to, I think it's good to be playing someone else, to be honest with you. Last year was Columbus out of Miami in the fourth round, and this year it's Buchholz out of Gainesville, and we get a chance to play. I don't think we've ever played them before.
Not that I can recall. No,
I know we played Gainesville High.
Yes.
Right. But I don't think we've ever played Buchholz, and they have one of the most dynamic and explosive players that I've ever seen on film. I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about I've ever seen on film. Their quarterback, I know his name. I'm not real good with names.
It's Whittemore.
Whittemore,
yes. The last name.
Because it's the dad's actually the head coach as well.
Yeah, and the brother, Trent Whittemore, played for Florida until about a week and a half ago when he went in the portal.
But he is an explosive athlete that is very scary to watch on film. I mean, he's and very rarely do you see this in high school, but he's a guy that I feel like can totally change the outcome of a game.
Right.
Like, no matter who you're playing or no matter who he's playing.
He's got that, like, especially in a game where, let's say, you're from Friday night, it's 7-7,
right.
Indians score, go 14-7, and all of a sudden he breaks contain out of the pocket and you're 14-14. I mean, that's game changing.
Yeah, and they have a receiver that just committed to Alabama. They have another receiver, number 9, who while we're watching film, we're looking around the room and saying, wow, that guy looks like Amari Hayes.
Yeah.
The way he
runs.
The way he makes people miss, and just with him with the ball. And we know how impressive Amari Hayes is, and don't so you got a guy, we're comparing Amari Hayes, and you got a guy that's committed to Alabama, then you got the guy back there that's throwing the ball to him that could take it down and run, who we feel is one of the most explosive athletes we've seen on film in a long time. So needless to say, our defense, and Coach Shannon and Coach Wideline and Coach Heyer and Coach Hatler and all those guys on defense, Coach Jones, I mean, they have their handfuls. They have a plate full, and with all the confidence in the world, I know they're going to prepare our guys and get them in the right spot, and hopefully contain the Whittemore kid, and we have good players too. I think we match up some places. We got Elliott Washington, who's a 4-star DB that can kind of match up
speed for speed a little bit there. Yeah, no doubt.
And then you got Damon on the defensive line and Trenton on the defensive line. And,
but go a little backwards, but from the Riverview game in particular, how they we were looking at highlights. There were some splash plays on everybody on the defense.
Yeah.
You had Trenton in the backfield. You had Damon in the backfield. You had Jack Huber 3 or 4 times in the backfield. So I mean, I think that from a splash play perspective, I think there's a lot of that we see that when they need to, when they've had to in these bigger games, they have stepped up the defense quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that is like, again, you had a Charles Lester playing for Riverview, and you say, wow, okay, what happens if he breaks loose? Well, if he doesn't get out of the backfield, that's a good deal.
It's different kind of. He's a different kind of. He's a different kind of fast.
So like shifty, fast, or like
he's just
elusive?
really like Charles Lester. You probably put them. Charles Lester probably has higher top end
on the
speed.
track.
No, the kid runs a 10. Like I said, I think a 10.7.8 or something. So they're probably tied. But Lester probably end up catching him. Catching up at the end.
Okay.
But he's like, he goes from sitting back there, drop back in the quarterback, and then all of a sudden he's running a 10.700 right now.
Right.
And he's getting vertical with it, and so it's just he's just a different type of fast than Charles is. That makes sense.
Right.
Charles is much. Charles 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", and I think he's listed at 5'11" maybe. So you can imagine Dree Archer compared to whoever.
Like as far as speed is
Yeah,
concerned,
right.
I know what you're saying. A long runner, a guy
he's just he just start and go.
Right.
Right. And
well, that's a little bit like what Keon Sears runs. Keon can go from nothing to 2-3 steps. He's at top speed.
Yeah. So it's just a little different, and the position he plays with that explosiveness, it just makes it a really scary situation. So obviously we're gonna do everything we can to prevent those huge plays, and that's what obviously as a defense, that's always every defense coordinator says that we want to stop the big play. So they have quite a few players that can create big plays. So we have to be very sound and be in our correct position in our alignment and really rally to the football
and tackle well. Like always, so blocking and tackling is everything. From Friday night, you had another good performance from your guys in the backfield. The Brooks Bentley again, poised under pressure. Made some huge plays near the end of the first half, second quarter, and then guided the team. Didn't have gaudy numbers. 77 yards passing. 35.
We didn't have a whole lot of offensive plays.
No, 47. I think is what it ended up being.
Yeah, 47.
So there's 70 plays.
Yeah, so 47 offensive plays. Well, how many? So the twos took at least 6.
Oh, yeah, maybe 8. Maybe 8.
So really, we had 39 offensive snaps with the 1. So
very efficient is what I would say from the offensive side of the ball. But Brooks definitely led the way. I thought, you hit Finn Jones early in the game.
Brooks threw a nice ball there.
He threw a nice ball, and it seemed like that there was not that there was a head scratching moment from Riverview or whatever, but a lot of people were like, wow, okay, so it is not just Ryan or Keon or Alvin, or that there's more pieces to this puzzle. And I think when you saw that, I think that throw in particular seemed like everybody got in their groove, like it was quickly in the groove. And we've talked about getting off to fast starts. That seemed to be the indicator to a fast start for Venice in that situation. But all those guys we just mentioned, outside of Ryan Matulovic, they all made contributions. While none of them were, again, splashy. Alvin over 100 with a couple touchdowns, so that was good. But highly efficient. The plays, yardage per play must have been close to, it had to be close to 7-8 yards, 9 yards of play. And that's a good average to have in a high school football game.
Yeah, Alvin had a good night, real good night on offense. Gator had a good night. Our quarterback Brooks, he's such a winner. Just looking at where we kind of took over that game was the touchdown right at the end of the second quarter, and then the touchdown right before the end of the second quarter.
I mean, the one play that you promised he would throw it.
Right. So he made the one hurdle play.
Yeah.
Where we're in second and long, and he gained 20 yards on that, which put us in a situation to score to go up 14-7, and then excuse me, Jacavius Washington made a great play on special teams, and we get the ball back and no timeouts, and I'm telling them, make sure you have to throw the ball here. Oh, okay, I got you. Well, throw the ball, and then he makes a play with his legs and ends up diving in the end zone and gets a touchdown. We're up 21-7, and that was all within 2 minutes.
They had the ball driving to tie and turn it over. We go up 2 touchdowns, and right there, at that point, it was game plan had to change. You couldn't have a 8-minute drive or 7-minute drive. You had to get the ball as quick as you can in the end zone, and then when they didn't make it, we were the ones getting into the end zone.
And then we came out the third quarter and scored pretty quickly there, and made it 30. Even before you knew it was 35-7, and someone on the sideline said, "Hey, Vero Beach is down by 21 in the fourth, and
Bartram Trail
just lost." And I said, "Everybody out. Take the starters out." And usually we'll get the clock running before we do that, but I just said everybody out. So I knew we had a home game, and it just kind of, you knew you were going to win the game, and then you knew you were going to play the next round. But then when everything is so real to you, like, okay, this person lost, this person's going to lose. You're going to be at home versus this team, and when it's real life for you and real. And I was like, all right, everybody out. We made it. We're in the state semifinals. Let's make sure we leave here tonight and all of our starters are healthy.
A lot of questions right out of the gate on Friday night, Saturday morning. People asking, how did this happen? How did you go from, how did we get a home game?
Right.
Even some people looking at the FHSAA.com bracket, the way they look at the old style when it said, well, this team would play this team and we would be away at so and so. Where now we talked about this, the reseeding of things, where it's now the last 4 teams are seeded over again, and that puts us at number 2 behind Lakeland, where they'll host the game against Kissimmee Osceola. A familiar foe for them, by the way. I mean, they've played quite a bit.
I think it was 23-25 final in regular season. Yeah. So a heck of a rematch.
No doubt. And then of course, we get Gainesville-Buchholz here at Pal Davis Stadium. 7:30 start, as usual, at Pal Davis Stadium. If you're looking to get tickets on Thursday from 3 to 5, they're selling tickets at the school, so you can go down 3 to 5. I think the front office is where they normally do that when they sell the tickets.
No, the ticket booth.
Ticket booth. Okay, so the ticket booth by the stadium, everybody knows where. If you've been to a football game, you know where that is. If not, if you want to get there as early as 6 p.m. on Friday night, you can get there 6 p.m. The ticket booth will be open for early sales of the tickets for that night. Going to be a really nice night temperature-wise, and as far as humidity, is supposed to be a little bit lower. While the fog was crazy on Friday night, it came in, and when it came in, it was sort of creeped in. But then when it got there, it settled in. We would not have, if that was an overtime game or another different. There's no way we would have got that game. It would have been, we would not been able to see the players on the field.
No, yeah. When I left the office, the lights were still on, and I was like, "Wow, I'd never seen anything like that. Like there's no way you could see anything in there."
No doubt. So again, come out early. We want everybody there. I mean, we'll talk about the live streaming again. We're doing that. Myself and Josh Grant will be doing that at the NFHS network again, the same way we did it the last couple weeks. But really, we want you at the game this one. We wanted to pack it. We want standing room only. We want to show Gainesville. I heard they're bringing a fan bus down. So that's good for them, and whatever. So they're going to try to show up as well, and we got to show them what it's like to be playing a football game at Venice High School. I'm sure they've seen it on TV, or some other places they might have seen us playing, but never been here live and in color. And I always tell them it's always funny when schools come down or come to Venice High School for the first time, how still impressed they are with the condition of our football field with all those games that are played there during the fall. Yeah. They're always like, man, this place.
It's been in great shape.
It's been in
awesome shape. Got a little wet and a little mud Friday night. I can always tell because when they're you see when they're walking in the locker room, there's that mud that kind of sticks. But it's been in great shape.
But think about what that field has endured this year with a hurricane, stuff all over the place. So kudos to once again to the groundskeeping staff, the custodians of Venice High School, doing a great job on that field for us. With that, we'll take our first break here for the night. We'll come back with our sponsor spotlight, and we'll take about a 3-minute break and talk some more football. I want to talk a little bit about the Florida State game on Friday night and a few other things about college football as well when we get back. So with that, we'll get you back here. That was a tease for the first time ever. See you back here in 3 minutes.
What does Douglas Jeep, Chrysler Dodge Ram, and Venice High Football have in common?
The perfect team and the perfect lineup.
Douglas Jeep, Chrysler Dodge Ram will always go the extra yard so you can score big with the area's best selection and savings. So if you're looking for a championship vehicle lineup
And a dealership that tackles the competition.
visit Douglas Jeep, Chrysler Dodge Ram in Venice.
And if you're looking for a championship football lineup, check out the Venice High Football team.
Who supports Venice High Football?
Douglas does.
Welcome back to tonight's Tuesday Night Podcast. Before we get started on some more conversation about football, we got to do our sponsor spotlight for tonight, which is Sarasota Ford.
Okay.
What can you tell us about Sarasota Ford, Coach?
Well,
You know,
Sarasota Ford. There's a lot of coaches have got their vehicles at Sarasota Ford. You got Coach Shannon has got their his vehicle from there. You got Coach Dombrowski has got his vehicle from there. And there's a few more. I know there's a bunch more.
and they've been sponsors for us
Coach Wheatley
for a while. Coach Wheatley.
Coach Wheatley.
Oh, that's right. He got his new Bronco.
He got his Bronco from there. So we have an awful lot of people on campus that go up there. And Coach Wheatley said that he goes there sometimes not even to
eat cookies.
They said there's some like cookies and like massage chairs. So he goes up there sometimes on Saturdays,
Just
not to get his car serviced or to look at cars, but just to enjoy the waiting room. He said.
Yeah.
And he said you got to come with me one weekend. It's great.
I knew the cookie maker at one point in time.
Oh,
It was.
this is the first I heard about it like 2 weeks ago, and he's telling me, yeah, it's great. You'll go up there Saturday and spend an hour or so there. And he said, I don't get anything done, or I'm not looking for a car. It's great. It's great to go in there to watch TV and then have these great massage chairs. So
maybe we start doing that on the weekends, maybe, right?
I think maybe I'll try it out
See
Saturday.
tell him to drive you up there.
Buchanan is a former.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Brian knows people up there. I'm sure he's been there a bunch of times. So
Right.
you walk in with him, you probably get special treatment.
So not only you go up there and you buy a great car, and you can go in there and just kind of hang out.
So Sarasota Ford Spotlight,
Place
sponsor
to be.
Spotlight.
It's
It's
a
the place to be.
Yeah.
And when you're there, buy a car if you're going to go up there. Don't waste too much of their time.
Or use their service department. But from what I understand, it's very comfortable when you are waiting or when you are getting something serviced on your vehicle there.
There you go. And thanks to them for being a sponsor for a while now, right? They've been a while. So no doubt, thank you guys up there at Sarasota Ford. We do appreciate it. With that, Coach, let's get back to some football talk. I mentioned before on the break, I said, what an odd Friday night from a perspective from Florida football in particular. You've got the all the regional finals going on for the most part. So what is that? 4 games times 8 or 7? You got like 20
2 games.
2
8
games.
teams.
Okay, so 16 games.
Two teams times 8, so 16. But then you have your 1R, so it's really 17 games.
Right. So with that, it's whatever how it works. But that's the premier high school football night, and then you get Florida State.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. It's what I mean. I know that they want a standalone game on Thanksgiving, and it's
I know
a rivalry
it's not really their decision. It's the network's decision, but.
Yeah, but you know what? Even with that, it's I don't know how much of the network. I think they had to at least offer it to them. And I mean,
from my understanding, they tell you like.
Okay, well, that's the case. Listen. I'll give you this. There was a lot more people than I expected to be there. They packed that place out, which it looked good from that perspective. But again, maybe it's because we're in the playoffs, but it just didn't seem like it had the game was good. It was exciting, but I just thought
it lasted forever.
It sure did.
I mean, they started at the same time we started, and I uploaded the film. I was in your office for like 45 minutes and made it home and watched most of the fourth quarter. I watched the entire fourth quarter after the film had entirely uploaded. Yeah. Great fourth quarter. I know when you left and Coach Shannon left, he had it up on his phone. He left and it was like, I thought that Florida State was running away with it, and I tried to go and I get back.
It's tied.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Nuts. Yeah.
So it was kind of a weird night. From that perspective, I didn't really talk to anybody who said, yeah, I'd love to have it that way all the time. So maybe it is a one-off. Maybe next year it's Bedlam, Oklahoma State or something like that.
Yeah, it'll depend on, what the records are. So the networks have first pick. I mean,
they're not going to. If Florida State were in the top 10 going for playoff, they're not going to be on Friday night.
No, exactly.
They're going to be on Saturday prime time.
Yeah,
so.
Florida's 10-1 and Florida State's 11-0. Yeah. It's on Saturday at 3:30.
Right, and that's what you're going to watch. Right, no doubt.
Speaking of our break, Francis usually gives us the countdown.
Yes.
And Josh is just like, all right, you're up. I mean, I wasn't ready for that. I was expecting 1, 2. There was a countdown, and it was just you're up.
He was.
I was not
5
prepared.
seconds, and I was like, okay.
I wasn't prepared for that. I was waiting for the countdown. And then all of a sudden he said, all right, guys, boom, you're up. Like it was no countdown. I'm not prepared for that. Just I want to let you know that.
So anything that would look stumbly was because you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't even look at the camera
I'm picking my nose and you're up. Uh-oh.
It's time to go.
Yeah.
Going back to about Venice again. We'll talk one more little bit about us. Obviously, you're into the fourth week of the playoffs. Again, preparation-wise, you guys have been talking about how well and focused the team has been in practices. Again, is the team fresh? How do they look as far as that perspective is concerned?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think this year we always talk about we're healthy. We don't have any injuries. The team is definitely fresh. It's one thing that we make sure that this time of the year that we are at our healthiest and most liveliest, and we want these kids to come Friday night, and one of the biggest things I tell them always is we have to at least match the other team's enthusiasm and match their intensity. I said if we don't, we want to be greater. We want to be greater, but if we don't, we have to at least match it. If not, it's real simple. I mean, it's over.
Right, because the level now you're playing against. If it's not, these teams they're hot. They're on winning streaks.
Yeah,
they're feeling it. They got the desire and the same goals that you do. So they're there. There's no like, oh, they're out of the playoffs. They don't care. This team. These guys are coming here.
Well, you know who they lost to last year?
No.
In the playoffs, St. Thomas.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, so they probably got the joy of going down to St. Thomas.
Oh, they're fortunate enough.
Or like we like to call it as hell. So they had the joy of that last year after Thanksgiving. I guess it would be no. That was this week. They lost in the semifinals.
Okay.
So I'm sure they got to experience what a wonderful group that is.
Yes, it must have been a real friendly environment for them. Yes.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
they've
seen it. They've been there. They've been there.
So
they've been in that
they're
spot.
going to be ready to play football. I mean, they've seen it all. So, I was just thinking like they went through last year to try to do that 6 years in a row. Okay,
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so that's that's interesting because like I said, that is I mean, if you're going to get a test, and you're going to get ready for whatever the next one would be. That's definitely the situation there. Also, we are the lone team left in the playoffs from our area, which is I guess another accomplishment to kind of hang your hat on. But overall, there was some upsets in the state, but I mean, outside of the ones we know, because obviously we talked about how it played out with us. But
the one that wasn't this week. Was it the Miami Central? Was that this past week?
No, Miami Central Northwestern was the week before.
Yeah, that was interesting. I know Central pulled it off, but it was a heck of a game.
I was surprised with this week that Naples lost.
Me too. That was surprising.
Because I thought I don't know as much about Dunbar, but just the fact that Naples, how they played against us, and having 2 D1 running backs that were going where they're going.
What was the final score of that?
14-7 with the final score.
Yeah.
So Dunbar's defense must have played really, really well.
Must have played really good.
So that was interesting because, like I said, I thought watching them play, seeing how their style of play, I thought that was ready-made, built for the playoffs.
Yep.
That grinded out, they're going to just kind of no mistakes, that kind of thing.
I think they were. That was my pick for that class, is that they would get it done. And typically, Dunbar is that area. Typically, Naples usually runs that. They Southwest Florida.
Yeah, because it was funny because when you talk to people, who are you playing from Naples? The good team, and that's they don't know that's all the breakdown. But yeah, Naples has been. I mean, they've been bumping their heads against some folks the last couple of years, but
yeah, they always get the draw. They typically get the draw of the Northwestern, Central. Even the I know who you're talking about. There was a team,
Booker T. Washington, they played before, I think.
Yeah.
So there's always kind of those teams that are Carroll City.
Carroll City when Carroll City had a good year. They all play
in that little bit of stuff there.
So they usually get knocked out then. But gosh, Dunbar must have really have a good team. Dunbar's always had a good football team and been very. They've had a lot of athletes.
Yeah, but they came to play us the one year, and they had like 5 or 6 guys that were D1.
Right.
So they definitely had some players.
They have players. But they're always been a good football team. And, who knows what happened in the game? And Naples could have fumbled, or Dunbar might be a really good football team.
Yeah, no doubt.
And deservedly so.
And also, I remember, I think you and I were talking about how this metro and suburban thing broke everything up, and were there more teams with opportunities to win championships? There are, but a lot of familiar names still permeate the semifinal matchups. If you look around, you say to yourself, hey, it's Venice and Lakeland and Osceola. Let's say that because Osceola, we went and saw them play in a state championship game one year.
Well, Osceola was always 8A, or no, they played in the 7A then. But 4M and 4S. I've always said it. I think that the harder one is the 4S.
Well, if you look at it, where things break down, it was. As far as
right now, look who's left. You got Osceola, Venice, Lakeland, and then you got Buchholz with, they have Superman on their team.
Right. And then you've got basically Columbus, Ocoee.
That was one that was new.
Yeah, that was a new one.
Where's Ocoee? Is that Orlando area?
Yeah. And then you had that, and then the other two were again were
Jones,
right?
Edgewater. Oh, I was surprised at that score.
Mm-hmm.
They
Killed
put it on Edgewater.
Yeah, they put it on him for sure. So so I guess you would say, like, while there has been like maybe early on in the playoffs, a lot of some teams that need to get a chance. I'm not totally sure that a lot has changed. I think the teams that are sort of sniffing around the championships and whatnot have sort of rose to the top as always.
Well, what has changed is Champagnat. They no longer exist, so they can't win it every year.
And that's the ones you look at and you go to 1A to 1M, 2M.
How often have you heard that? They just don't have the school anymore.
weird. Yeah, got to go somewhere else.
Yeah, they've won 4 state championships early. Yeah, guess what? No more school.
You're done.
They closed the shopping mall down.
But we saw American Heritage is in the one of the semifinals games. So again, those same teams are still managing to find their way through. I think maybe at the end of the day, there won't be as many championships.
Well, American Heritage beat Gibbons,
right?
Cardinal Gibbons, which they were all in the same class anyway.
And Coco won again.
Well, Coco's going to be they're an M.
Yeah.
So they'll probably
or an S.
walk.
You mean?
They're an S.
They're an
so
S.
they'll probably walk.
Yeah, they're playing. I think they're playing Bradford.
Oh, that's an interesting game. Yeah. That's the fighting Coach Shannons.
The fighting Shannons.
Yeah, that's where Coach Shannon went to high school. They're undefeated, and they're playing Coco. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. So again, keep an eye on all that stuff. It's kind of fun to watch. We like to watch it because you see these teams, and you guys know a lot of the coaches, or at least some of them, because clinics and whatnot, you get to meet people and connections with that kind of stuff. So it's an interesting fraternity of situations, how you get to meet these different guys, and they help you set up different, especially with your schedule, trying to figure things out. So it's always nice to have that sort of familiarity with them.
I'm in the middle of that right now.
And then, of course, with film and everything else.
Yep.
So it's always nice to have all that stuff done for you. Obviously, picks this week. It's championship games, so there's really not much to say.
Our picks.
Michigan, Purdue, is that going to be a game?
No.
Probably not. Georgia, LSU doesn't look like it's going to be much of a game.
I'm going Utah, and I'm going
Kansas State over
Kansas
TCU.
State, yeah. Because we got to get our boys in the game.
And if that happens, college football fans, if you want to see them how they're rushing to get this playoff system in, if TCU and USC lose, it'll be Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and Alabama. Everything
That's the way it should be.
But everything that they're trying that makes the rest of the country squirm. 2 SEC schools and then 2 Big Ten schools.
But that's the way it should be. I mean,
well, if you look at how they're playing, those teams have been perennial
USC.
powers.
Here's what they should do this year. They should make USC play TCU, and then if it's a good game, you may let the winner in. But if it's not a good game, put Alabama and Ohio State.
I will say this though: the USC quarterback, who was the Oklahoma quarterback last year, got a pretty special talent. He's talented.
Yeah.
He makes some plays. I got to give you that. He got to give him that. He makes some plays. But the Pac-12 kind of lost a little luster with some of those late season losses. Oregon losing to Oregon State in the late game last week, and their rivalry game. So there's a few things that happened that it kind of took a little bit of that luster off of what USC is going to try to do. I think they're on Friday night. Not that we're really going to.
Oh, they are Utah and
they
are on Friday night.
So maybe that'll be another one of those games that go on to 1 o'clock in the
Oh,
morning.
you see, Mater Dei lost to John Bosco.
So now that makes them the
St. John Bosco.
Are they number 1 in the country, or is still Central?
No, Central is number 1.
So Miami Central. You beat IMG. You get the opportunity to sniff that top ranking.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt, and that's the truth. I mean, IMG was pretty impressive.
Well, what impressed me a lot, I thought they were good. They thought they were one of the better teams I've seen them have.
From huge.
But they beat St. Francis, which if you ask me, I think St. Francis is always going to be pretty good. You know what I mean? They got that different edge to them that they play with, which is they go at it pretty hard. They're an all-star team, but they're not your traditional sort of all-star team, if you want to call it that.
Right. I know what you're saying. They're not.
They're a team. They're more. They build it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're not a dog show team.
Right.
They're like, we got the best junkyard dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get.
And
they play like it.
And they're clamoring for games. And that's another funny thing too. While there's become this sort of hierarchy of these, Bishop Gormans and Modern Days and all these different schools. They don't play such as much as you think you would. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why? The fact that IMG had to go play a team out of Toronto and had a 96-0 halftime lead. That shouldn't happen. They shouldn't. What was the fake team that tried to call you up? Out of Ohio, whatever they were.
They played on ESPN last year.
Yeah. But they got IMG because IMG is looking for games. They should be able to be playing all those other teams. That if you finish number 1 in the country, you should play St. Francis and IMG as part of your schedule. You know what I mean? You would think that it would make sense, from that perspective.
Well, heck, we might as well play Central. I need games too. I mean, I don't know how we're going to fill our schedule, and then top of that, we're doing pretty good this year. So then no one's going to want to play. But I think if you take a step back and you kind of look at what we did in our schedule, we started the season out 1-3 or no
we were 2-2.
2-2, right? And then but anyway, we're home. Right, we're home in the state semifinals, so we got every playoff game home.
Right,
and we have a chance to move on from here. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what's happening. Going to happen because we haven't played yet. But the simple fact is, we're home in the semifinals. So,
yeah.
At the end of the season, we were 5-3.
Right.
That's what they're going off of the points.
Right.
But we played some good people, so our points were up there pretty high.
But if you look at the Max Preps in states,
right.
Plus Clearwater Academy International, 10.
Right.
The schools you're playing, Northwestern's still pretty highly ranked up there. So all those games outside of the two big ones were the two notoriety guys, which is St. Francis and IMG.
Yeah.
But and we played IMG White.
Yeah, well, they're not bad either.
They're not bad either. They're up there as well. So, so it's good. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about Friday night again. So, Thursday afternoon, 3 to 5, at the ticket booth by the stadium. You can pre-buy your tickets for the game on Friday night. If not, get to the stadium early on Friday night. 6 p.m. the ticket booth opens up. You can buy tickets at 6 p.m. on Friday. Get yourself ready to go for the game on Friday night. 7:30 kickoff. So we're expecting a packed house. Everybody's been clamoring and asking questions: when, where, how. We are home. We are playing games with Buell's at home. Let everybody know that, and we want everybody there. If not, myself and Josh Grant will be doing the game on live streaming on the NFHS network. Go through and get there, and you can link up, and it's $11.99 for the month, I think it is. So you can get it for the whole month for $11.99, and you can watch the games. Our game specifically, if you want to watch us against Gainesville Buell's. Big game, lots of fun, great broadcast. The Vibrant Aspect Media crew do a fantastic job. I have to compliment them. They did this. They did a sort of on-the-spot kind of one-day thing where Josh Grant had all the scenarios laid out of who won and how we get everything else. And I was thinking, it'd be nice. Things coming up. Francis and those guys and Josh had it popping out of the bottom of the scoreboard thing or whatever. I was like, it took me off guard. I was like, what the heck did that come from? Then it went back in, and it came back another one. So really cool. It looks really good. It looks so professional. So I think if you were to maybe peruse the NFHS other games, you'd see a marketable difference in quality as to what we do and what's going on there. So watch it if you can't make it. I know sometimes you can't, but if you can't make it, go ahead and please tune us in on the live stream. We'd appreciate it. We want everybody's support if it's via the airwaves or the actual in the stand type of support. Coach, anything you want to add tonight?
No, just like to see everybody out there. Kids are excited and been focused, and hopefully we can play a really good game. We're playing a really good football team for sure. I mean, I know a lot of people want to come out and see good athletes. Like I said, they got a quarterback that's probably the most explosive and dynamic player that we've seen on film in a long time. They got a receiver that just committed to Alabama last night. They got a receiver, number 9, that we're sitting here thinking he's, the next coming of Amari Hayes. And so they're explosive on offense for sure. They play very good, sound defense where they get to the ball very well, and they run some exotic looks and different looks on defense and give you some different looks. And so it's gonna be a good football game. Yeah,
no doubt. I think you said, and when something's on the line like that, it's palpable. You can feel it in the air.
Right.
The kids are jacked up. The fans are excited. Band is cranking. So we want all that stuff to happen again, and we want to walk out of there with another Venice Indian victory. That's what we're hoping for. All right. With that, one more thing: the sponsor spotlight. Sarasota Ford. Meet Brian Wheatley there for cookies and massages.
Go there on Saturday. You'll see Brian Wheatley there. You go get a great vehicle, and friendly staff, someone that's from our area, the Buchanans,
Yeah.
and they'll take care of you.
Yeah, so that's the thought. So go visit Sarasota Ford and find a vehicle you might like from the family of Ford.
Yep, and get to see Brian Wheatley.
Exactly. With that, thank you guys for joining us once again on our Tuesday night podcast. We'll see you here next week from Bogies. Have a great night.